Today we're going to continue talking about solving multi-step equations with variables on one side. In the last video we focused on multi-step equations where we had to combine like terms first and then we could solve the one or two step equation that was left over. Today we're going to add to that and we're actually going to have to distribute. So if you remember from the last video, we had some steps for success. We crossed out number 1 because I told you we didn't have to distribute. There weren't going to be any parentheses. Today we're going to do that. Then we are going to combine like terms on the left side or on the right side or both. And then step 4, collecting all the variables on one side. We're still not going to do that yet. So I'm going to go ahead and put a line right through it. We don't need to worry about that. And then you're just going to solve the remaining equation. Let's go ahead and do 4 problems. And then you're going to do 4 problems on your own. Have them checked and get your homework just like we did in the last video. So let's get started. Okay, so notice there are parentheses in both of these problems. So similar to what we did yesterday, we need to kind of simplify before I can solve. Okay, so my first step here is going to be to eliminate my parentheses. I need to distribute that 7 to both parts. Remember to multiply, don't add. So 7 times 2x is 14x, and 7 times 5 is 35. Go ahead and bring down that 119 on the right side because we haven't done anything over there yet. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 then is to combine your like terms. Notice that I cannot combine this term and this term together because the 14 has an x with it and 35 doesn't. Also can't combine anything on the right side because there's only one thing there. Okay, so I can kind of skip those combining like term steps because there's not really anything to combine. And then I move down to that last step, which is to solve. This is just a 2-step equation. So remember we looked for our variables here, which is x. Don't want to do anything with that 14 yet because it's attached to the x. We need to cancel the 35 first. So what I'm going to do is subtract 35 from both sides to get 14x equals, and if I subtract 35 here, I end up getting 84. Okay, final step, 14x right next to each other means that's multiplication, not addition, so do not subtract these. We need to divide. So we're going to divide by 14 on both sides, and we end up getting x equals 6. To check this, you could plug this back in and simplify those parentheses and multiply by 7, and you should get 119 for an answer. Let's do one more just like that. Okay, so again, starting out, notice I have parentheses in there, so we need to eliminate those first. Let's go ahead and distribute the negative 8. Be really careful with your signs in these problems. So negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 6, this negative goes with my 6, negative times a negative is a positive 48x. Okay, some of you are still writing that minus a negative there. Don't put 2 negative signs in the problem. It just makes it really confusing. You need to remember a negative times a negative gives you a positive. Okay, the second step is to combine like terms on the left side. Again, I don't have like terms. One has an x, the other one doesn't. Can't combine them together. So now I'm going to find my variable. Same thing on the right side. I'm going to find my variable here, which is an x. Can't do anything with the 48 because it's attached to my x. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this 8 by adding to both sides since it's negative. Okay, and those cancel. Bring down your 48x, and that equals 96. Okay, last step. 48 and x are right next to each other, so that means we're multiplying them. To cancel multiplication, we need to divide by 48 on both sides. So 96 divided by 48 is 2. Again, to check this, plug it back into the parentheses, simplify the parentheses, multiply by negative 8, you should get 88 for an answer. Okay, so distributing. Now we're going to add another step where we combine like terms and distribute. Okay, so looking at example 2, notice there's a little extra here. Still going to start out the same way. Okay, so I'm going to distribute to eliminate my parentheses in step 1. So I'm going to do 4 times 6, which is 24, and 4 times 7n, which is 28n. I'm not going to multiply by that one because it's not inside my parentheses. I just need to bring it straight down. Okay, same thing on the right side. Negative 96 comes down. Okay, now step 2 is to go ahead and combine your like terms on the left side. Notice that I have a 28n and a minus 8n, or a negative 8n. So I'm going to go ahead and do 28 minus 8, which gives me 20. And it's a positive 20, so I'm going to put a plus sign in there. And then my 24 is just going to come down. So I've combined my like terms on the left side. I can't do anything on the right side with that step because there aren't any terms to combine together. Okay, so once I combine my like terms now I'm at my 2-step equation. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 24 from both sides. Can't do anything with that 20 yet. Bring down my 20 in. So when I subtract 24 from both sides, I actually get a negative 120. Okay, be careful with your signs. When you type this in, it's negative 96 minus 24, not minus a negative 24. Don't add extra signs there. And then our last step, because the 20 and the n are not right next to each other, is to divide by 20 on both sides, so that I have n equals negative 6. Okay, you can plug that in for all your n's and type it in your calculator and simplify. You should get negative 96 for an answer. Okay, let's do one more just like it. Drawing my line through the equal sign. This time I can't do anything on the left side. There's nothing there to simplify with my 281. So I'm going to bring that down. I need to eliminate the parentheses on my right side. So I'm going to go ahead and do negative 7 times 1, which is negative 7, and then negative 7 times negative 5, which gives me a positive 35x. So a negative times a negative, again, is a positive. That plus 8 is not in my parentheses, so I'm just going to bring that down. Okay, we are going to combine our like terms next. Notice in this problem that on the left side, don't have anything to combine. I just have one number, so I'm going to bring that down. On the right side, I have a negative 7, and I have an 8. So negative 7 plus 8 is 1. And then my 35x is just going to come down. Okay, so here's our two-step equation. Can't do anything with that 35 yet because it's right next to my x. So to cancel a 1, I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. So I'm left with 280 equals 35x. Okay, final step. Because my x and my 35 are right next to each other, that means I need to go ahead and divide, not subtract. So we're going to divide by 35 on both sides. So and type that in your calculator, and 280 divided by 35 gives us 8. So we get 8 equals x for our final answer. Okay, again, to check it, plug it in, type it in your calculator, make sure your answer is 281 when you plug in your 8. Okay, so that's all that's new today. Multiply to get rid of your parentheses, combine your like terms if you can, and then solve. If you have any questions, pause, raise your hand, we will help you out. If you do not, go ahead and try the guided practice problems, and then when you finish those, have those checked to receive your homework. Okay, again, just a reminder, we talked about solving multi-step equations with variables on one side. We had to distribute for that, so that's what you'll be doing on your homework. We also have a little bit of review on there. The next lesson, okay, next video, eventually, will be with variables on both sides. We won't get there yet. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. Have a great day.